Hello and welcome to Alternate Image Raid. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video, and today we're going to go after one of the last Faction Wars teams for the first rotation going through, showing all the teams that I actually use. This one will be the Skinwalkers faction. If you drop a sub later on, we're going to go back and show at least more accessible if I have champion that I can actually show them in. Some of these teams aren't really crazy powerful. Some of the ones I've used are. This team that I have here isn't actually amazing. It is, however, enough to get the job done. So I'm going to show you the run. I'm going to show you their stats and masteries and everything, so you can get an idea where these champs are, what it takes to actually complete this. This particular team is not a 100% chance. It is not going to win every time, but I have gotten the 3 stars that I needed to make progress on this. This team is kind of slow, so when I come back to actually farm this particular faction here for the Skinwalkers, I will typically do it on a lower stage than 21, just because it's not very quick. It's not efficient, but it gets the job done. So I'm going to attempt to go through mostly on auto through the waves. However, once we get to the boss, I'm going to have to take a bit of manual control, just because the boss is kind of particular. I need to make sure the reses are going off at the right time, that I'm not using the abilities in the wrong order, because the boss is fairly strong on this one. So we're going to go through here these waves, and then I will show you how to get the boss done. Now that we're at the boss, let's go over the abilities real quick. The first ability is AoE attack, and it has a chance of placing a fear on the whole team. Fortunately, this ability is not a true fear, so that if we do use an ability, it isn't wasted. Then we have a debuff spread and steel buff. So they will take the buffs off of our whole team. They will put all the buffs that they have on them onto our team. It's a really annoying ability. It does slow down the run a lot. And then finally, the boss will exchange HP with the target. This becomes really problematic if it exchanges HP with Hoforees, because Hoforees is then a little bit of danger, and I need him alive to res. So I'm going to do a little bit of this on auto just to kind of wean through it, but I kind of have to start taking control typically in order to actually get it to work, because the boss just heals up too much at the wrong times otherwise. We'll see there the whole team's buffs got stripped off. Part of the success that's going to be to actually seal the deal here is going to be using buffs only at the right time to make sure they will actually fall off prior to when the boss gets to go, because the boss now has a bunch of increased damage and stuff, which makes it very dangerous for the team, and has a higher chance of killing champions than if we tune the target a little bit more. So I'm going to let this go through. We'll do a bit of increased speed on this run. Hopefully it doesn't die. If it does, I'll kind of cut through to the boss just so you can see kind of how it ends, what the stats are like at the end. And of course, after this, all the stats and so forth for the champions. Yep, see you at the end. And there it is. That's the win. We'll see that it is fairly slow. That actually was my best time. I've done this now more than I had previously, a little bit more efficient with the boss usage. I'm sure somebody else could still be even more efficient. I did make mistakes in the gameplay in there. However, it was enough to get it done. We'll see that Yaga did the most damage with his poisons. Cleopterix was the second highest. She is a pure damage champion. Everybody else is pretty much support, and they did similar amounts of damage there. Hoforees, of course, amazing for the res. I couldn't do this particular team without having a res on it. And then Steelskull for additional healing is very nice. So let me go show you all of their stats and masteries and so forth. So here we go. Yaga hasn't been tuned up in kind of a long time. He was a poisoner for clan boss for me quite a long time ago. We'll see that while I have the 2 stars, I haven't used his blessing. So this is blessing free on this run. For stats, we are going for a decent amount of attack and accuracy, and that's really about all I have on him. He could stand to use a little bit more defensive abilities, a little bit more speed, and obviously crit rate higher, but I think he was tuned to the specific speed at the time, and I just haven't changed him up. Masteries, we did take him down for War Master for that extra damage. Hoforees, we again have in War Master just for the boss damage on this boss. I don't really use Hoforees anywhere else. For the stats here, we're going to put him in a ton of HP, a decent amount of defense, and then that's really all that matters. And then, of course, good speed here. HP, defense, speed. The only goal for Hoforees is to stay alive and revive and strengthen. That's really all that matters. A chance for a stun here is nice. A little bit more accuracy would be good for that. The buff is okay, although it's honestly kind of dangerous on the boss. The res is what he's here for. Get back to the res. In that regard, taking him through a defense tree would make a bit of sense as well. But my damage was overall lacking at the time I was going through here, so I did that. Hoforees is booked. I kind of want to show you some of these books in this one. Yaga is booked. Cleopterix, not booked. No books on this champion. Only partial masteries. We have not taken her all the way down. Cleopterix, I think I did this prior to her buff, which still isn't remarkable, but she's not amazing. She's an okay damage champion. And decent if set up properly, but I have her in lifesteal just to help keep her alive. She just died so much prior to that. And then we have her pretty much in as good attack, crit rate damage, and then some accuracy. The accuracy, of course, should be a little bit higher. I could probably tune her up slightly in that regard. She's just a damage champion. That's what her goal is, damage, and then drop that hex. Steelskull. Steelskull is here. I have Steelskull booked as well. Stats, ton of HP, decent defense, okay speed, and then accuracy. The main goal I want for him, though, is HP, defense, and then speed even more would probably be better. Because, again, this is a support champion. We're coming for this cleanse and heal, and we are coming for the AoE heal and decreased defense. The damage from this poison isn't really important. It does help a little bit, but it just doesn't matter. And he is also only partially masteried out, not all the way. That's just support. This team needs support because I don't have champion to do crazy damage. So then we go to Ursine Ironhide. We'll see that Ursine Ironhide is only 5-star level 50. This guy is here because I just needed some other kind of champion on the team. So this is the most replaceable champion, although I will go through some alternatives after I cover his stats. We are booked on Ursine all the same. I just wanted more chance to get this decrease attack on the boss when it's time, and even on the waves to some extent. Masteries, we just have a little bit extra crit rate and damage. And then for stats, obviously the stats are going to be kind of low because we're not 6-starred yet, but they're still not bad. We have him in okay damage in terms of his crit rate. He has high defense and then decent HP, actually, given that he's only 5-star. This is a defense champion, so getting him all the way up to 6-star is actually going to have quite a lot of value on this team if you end up using him. So let's go over some alternatives that you could be using. First, I'm going to show mine. And the reason I'm going to show that is because I don't have a lot of options. Well, at least I didn't at the time I was originally doing this. So when I did this team, I did not have Ukko, I did not have Norog, and I did not have Hakorn. So I basically had Fane. Fane was somebody I tried taking through a couple of times. I found that my Fane stayed squishy course, only 5-star, but I eventually put in Ursine instead of Fane just to get some similar value in the kit, but somebody who was defense-based and would live longer without having to get another 6-star champion for this purpose. Obviously now any of these champions would be suitable for almost any spot. Hoforees is amazing for the res, but if you went through and got Uko, we'll see Uko has a revive now, and this would be a much better champion if you manage to go through that fragment or fusion event, whichever one it was for here. Yaga is great because it's guaranteed to happen. It is a login champion and just decent damage. Feel free to put him in a lifesteal set if you just want to live a little bit more. Otherwise, I just doubled down on the poison just for when I had him going through clan boss. Cleopterix is entirely replaceable with any damage. The better damage champion you could have is going to work. So speaking of better damage champions, obviously pretty much any of these legendaries is just going to be a better option. Brachus, I think Snicktrack, I don't actually remember what he does. He is actually support would be amazing. Ragash, Coronar, Temesia, Leoris, call him Lino typically. And just great options. In the epics, we actually kind of are a little bit weak on the options, which is kind of where this faction struggles. If you don't have amazing legendaries, which at least prior to these guys very recently I did not, epics are a little bit weak. Rain Beast is decent as a heal. Thane is actually fine if you get her actually geared up and stuff. And everybody else is kind of mediocre. Scabrius, I believe, has no heals. Anyway, so for this team, thinking about it conceptually and not just on the specific champions, you are going to want somebody that is providing a resurrect or amazing support that I don't have available, but resurrect is going to be good. You're going to want an additional heal on that because the boss does actually a lot of damage, and then a little bit of debuffing, but you're going to have to control that for the most part to make sure the boss isn't loaded up with debuffs that then get put on you and make it hard for you to survive. So a reser if you can, a healer on top of that, and then damage is very, very flexible on this boss. Ursine is also pretty nice, and I think Thane does something similar for some turn meter control, because of course just slowing down the boss is going to make it a little bit easier to stop her A3 from swapping health again and getting some heals out. So that's the team. Skinwalkers is tough. I kind of procrastinated on this video for a while just because it is such a longer run to get through, and it isn't 100% successful. I did succeed the last couple times I attempted it, which is nice. I'm getting some more success out of it, but you know, my Great Hall is stronger than it was, 6-7 months ago when I did this, and Champion just a little bit beefier overall. So this has been an alternate image raid video. If you have anything you'd like to say about this team, feel free to let me know. Any alternatives that you think are smarter than what I talked about, definitely leave that in the comments. If you really liked, sub, and if you dislike, smash the dislike button as it's still engagement for the channel. And as always, have a great day.